like, subscribe, and share, and check out all the links down below for some really fun freebies. As always, be sure to comment in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Where are you watching from? If you're watching live, be sure to say hi. And if you're watching on the replay, say hello and definitely comment down below, okay? So like, subscribe, share, comment. Woo, woo, woo. All right, with that, let's dive right on in. Ooh, let's jump into the juicy stuff, okay? Let's jump into the juicy stuff, which is Ubah versus Brynn, okay? Whose side are you on? Now, I think that this really breaks down into two compartments. The first bucket of this is last season when, do that slide. So the first bucket of this is last season when Brynn brought it to the group, on camera that Ubah was lying about having a boyfriend, right? So she came on the show acting like she was single, ready to mingle. But the truth was she had a boyfriend, Mr. Connecticut, the entire time she was filming. They were together before she started filming. So the entire time she was lying about being single. Jenna Lyons pretty much did the same thing. She was also in a relationship with a woman named Cass Bird, I believe her name is. So Ubah was lying about her relationship, and so was Jenna. As we know, Ubah ended up telling Sai, and Sai ended up telling Brynn, and Brynn ended up bringing it to the actual show on the season finale where she called out Ubah. Now, Ubah has made this her entire personality for season 2. We are 3-4 episodes in, and Ubah is still so mad about Brynn and how Brynn is a snake and Brynn is this, that, and the third. Now, before I dive into whose side I'm on in that compartment, think about that for a second. Now, the second part of their feud, which we really saw happen at the last episode, is sort of the conversation around Brynn being like, Ubah, don't be an angry Black woman stereotype, very anti-Black comments. You don't want to come across as angry or aggressive, or, Oliver, who is Ubah's alleged billionaire boyfriend. So this is what's at stake here, marrying a billionaire. Allegedly, he is worth $8 billion. Let me see where that is. Yeah, let me see if you guys can see it. So allegedly Oliver's net worth in 2024 is $8 billion. We'll get into that. I could not find him on the Forbes billionaire list, but allegedly he's worth $8 billion. So that's what is at stake here. Okay, marrying a billionaire. But let's get back to it. So those are the two issues that I think really are at the core of these two women fighting. One, Brynn outing the fact that Ubah had a boyfriend the entire time of season 1 and was lying and saying she was single. And then 2, I think the conversation around the anti-Black angry woman comments that Brynn said. As you guys know, I always have a different opinion on stuff. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, because I might have a different opinion on all of this than you guys have, I want to know your thoughts. Put it in the chat box. If you agree, if you disagree, what your thoughts are on the situation, whose side are you on? If anybody's side, put it down below. Okay. First issue, because I'm breaking it down for you guys. We're putting on our candy cane critical thinking hats. The first issue around the boyfriend reveal, I am team Brynn. 1000%. I'm not saying I like Brynn, but in this situation, I think Brynn is in the right. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you can't go on a reality television show in 2023, 2024, whatever the case may be, and lie about a key aspect of your life that is as big as whether or not you are in a relationship with somebody else when you're on a show called The Real Housewives. Ubah, you came on the show and you straight up lied through your teeth. The reason why this is important is because Ubah claims to be 40, 41. I think she's older than that. Doesn't matter, but whatever. She's claiming to be around 40, 41. Brynn is claiming to be around 38, 39 at this point. They are on the show. They're the only two single women. They're all around that 40, late 30s, early 40 age where fertility gets very, wishy-washy for women, right? So I think that there's a lot of insecurity, especially in our society. If you are a woman and you don't have children and you're not married and you're a certain age where you feel all of this pressure and you start to doubt your self-worth, you start to doubt, what's wrong with me if I'm single, if I don't have children, like all that stuff. So I totally understand those human insecurities that people have, and those insecurities lead to low self-esteem and low self-worth of like, why am I always a single girl? Like, totally get that. And I think Brynn was authentically living that insecurity of, I'm about to be 40 years old. I don't have a husband. I don't have kids. I'm out here trying to do my thing. And then I have Ubah over here who is lying through her teeth, pretending she's in my boat. But the truth is, she's dating a billionaire who lives in Connecticut, and she's been dating him for a while, and she has this amazing, happy relationship with this billionaire. Again, alleged billionaire. I saw the report saying he was one, but I don't know if that's verified or not. Billionaire or not, he has some coin. So Ubah is actually living the life that Brynn wants. She wants that billionaire. She wants that millionaire, finance guy who's like cool and, is like prestigious, that New York. That's what Brynn wants. So she's on the show, and Ubah is out here fronting like she's one of hers, but she's really not, on a reality show. I understand why Brynn outed her. Now, the reason why I think Ubah is misplacing her anger is this. Number one, Ubah, you messed up. If you wanted to lie about your relationship status, you shouldn't have told Sai. You shouldn't have told anybody. But the reason why you told Sai was because you were feeling what it feels like to be that 40-ish woman, single in the group, where you feel like everybody is pitying you or like, what's wrong with her? That's why you told Sai and her husband, David, because he was like, oh, like, well, you're so great. Like, why don't you have someone? And so in order to not feel what Brynn authentically feels, not good enough, what's wrong with me, I'm insecure, low self-worth, because you didn't want to feel what Brynn actually feels, you spilled the beans. Because if you got feeling uncomfortable and you want to be like, no, I'm good. I actually have a man. I'm okay. So you should be mad at yourself. You should have came to the show and you should have told the truth. You should have said, yes, I'm in a relationship, but he's a very private person. I don't want to talk about the relationship. I don't want to bring him on the show. I don't want to say his name, but I'm in a relationship and that is off limits. That is the difference between telling a lie and creating a boundary. And you can be on the show doing that. Example, Stacy in Potomac. She never says her soon-to-be ex-husband's name. His face is blurred out in all of the photos. She doesn't say what his name is, but she didn't go on the show lying and being like, I'm never married. I've never been married, because her soon-to-be ex-husband doesn't want to be on the show. No, they just blur the people out. For example, Sonia. Sonia came on the show. Her daughter never came on the show, never filmed, never showed a photo of her daughter. Sonia never even said her daughter's name on the show. She always said the kid. She didn't come on the show and be like, I'm a childless woman, because she wanted to hide the fact that because her kid couldn't film on the show. No. So Ubah, if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at yourself. You should have came on the show and you should have been honest, and you should have created a boundary around protecting it, not lying. So you can't be mad at Brynn for outing you for lying about whether or not you are dating a billionaire and you're fronting like you're single, like she is on the show. So I understand where Brynn was coming from. Secondly, Ubah, if you're going to be mad at somebody for betraying you, be mad at Sai, because Sai told Brynn. You did not directly tell Brynn. So she theoretically didn't really owe you that, because that's telephone at that point. You trusted Sai. You told Sai. Sai is the person who broke your trust and told Brynn. So I'm just confused as to how now your entire personality is being mad and having so much, anger and all of the things, all of the smoke towards Brynn, when you lied about your status and you told Sai because you didn't want to feel how Brynn truly feels every day. So in this issue, I'm team Brynn because I think Ubah, you're dragging it out. We've seen this happen on the Housewives before where they have a issue with one of the housewives and they drag it out episode after episode after episode after episode. And you're like, get over it already. You're bringing something from a year ago back into season 2, and now you're making this your entire personality. Ubah, I like you, Ubah. I like all of the girls. Like, I'm going to break down how I feel about them, but I quote like them all. I have nothing against them. So, Ubah, you need to just, whatever is really going on in your life that you're deflecting from, because it's not about Brynn. You know, it's really not about Brynn. Whatever's going on in your life that you're deflecting from, you said that Oliver was the only stable thing in your life. That's actually what you need to bring to the show so we can get to know you. We can connect with your insecurity and your vulnerabilities and your strengths and your confidence so we can like Ubah, the woman and the person, flaws and all, rather than just the Ubah who just is icing out and blaming everything on Brynn. Okay, I'm not saying Brynn is perfect. Obviously not. She knew exactly what she was doing. She is very manipulative. She is very, good with the words and putting everything together. I'm not saying she's perfect, but I'm saying in this particular incident, I side with Brynn because I understand where she's coming from. She's like, look, I'm actually going through this and you're lying about it. And we're on a reality TV show. So number one, I'm getting my points with the producers. And number two, I'm getting my points with the audience because we have a conversation. And number three, you never told me not to say anything because you've been lying to my face the entire time we've been filming for the past year. So in that particular situation, I'm team Brynn. Now let's move to our second issue, okay? Our second issue. So last episode, there was this conversation around Brynn saying, oh, Ubah, use your words. No. Like, don't yell at me. Don't swear at me. Don't do this, and this, and this, and this, because you're playing into the angry Black woman stereotype. And I don't want you to play into that stereotype because I want Oliver to want to marry you. This is what Brynn said off camera to Ubah and Aaron. Aaron and Ubah also talk about this at the end of the episode, how they were having the conversation around Brynn saying to Ubah, reel it in, use your words, all of those things. Now, the reason why I say it's anti-Black is because it seems like, and this is how I interpreted what she was saying. Maybe her intention was different. I don't know. But this is how I interpret it as a Black woman. This is what I heard her say. As Brynn, she is saying to Ubah, if you keep acting and presenting yourself the way white people think of ghetto Black people, Oliver will not think that you are good enough to marry. That is how I interpreted what she said. And to me, that's anti-Black because it dehumanizes Black women, that we're not allowed to have regular human emotions and react however we choose to react in the moment. And that if we present like some type of stereotypical Black person, somehow we are no longer worthy and deserving of love or whatever the case may be. Okay. That is what I heard her say. You need to act white in order for Oliver to think that you're good enough to wife up. That is what I heard her say. That's how I translated it in my head. Brynn, you're garbage, trash for that. Not in a derogatory way, but in like how the cool kids say you're trash. Not in like the other way. Because number one, regardless of race or gender, anybody who is being obnoxious or disrespectful is wrong. And this is where Brynn loses the argument because she should have just kept saying, you know what, Ubah, you are not allowed, like what she said in the beginning, you and nobody else is allowed to disrespect me. I was 110% with Brynn on that. You don't get to disrespect me. You don't get to call me out my name. You don't get to swear at me. You don't get to yell at me. That is a boundary I am creating for myself. I'm not going to interact with a woman screaming at me, yelling at me, saying F you and calling me this, that, and the third. I'm not doing it. Brynn would have won all day long if she would have stuck with that narrative. She loses when she then says, I was just trying to help her out because I didn't want her to look like an angry Black woman stereotype. And then Oliver wouldn't want to marry her because she's acting Black on TV, which is basically what she said, which is really, really messed up. And that's also rooted in Erin's own self-hate and imposter syndrome. Because I think, not Erin, I'm sorry, Brynn's self-hate and imposter syndrome, because she probably feels like she doesn't belong, quote, belong in the circles that she is either in or aspiring to be in. She probably feels like she's not rich enough. She's not white enough, quote, white enough. She's not XYZ, like has the right bread or purebred, whatever you want to call it, breeding, whatever, all of these very societal, stereotypical garbage things that society will tell someone makes you not good enough, or your family, or the people around you, or whatever the case may be. All of that is not true and absolute garbage. Even though I think what Brynn said is disgusting, as a human being, she is worthy and she is deserving and all of the things, right? But I think she said that because she probably herself deals with those demons of, well, if I show certain parts of me or aspects of me, they're gonna look at me like I'm one of, the stereotypical Black woman, and then I'm not going to be good enough to be in these circles, right? So Brynn, I think, absolute lost me with that. She loses every time with that. Miss me with that. That is absolutely nonsense. Very racist, very internalized racism, very anti-Black, and very rooted in her sense of low self-esteem. And it's more telling of how she thinks about herself than anything else. And that makes me sad for her. And I think she needs to really look in the mirror and work on herself and work out whatever demons she has about her own race and her own identity in this world. Now, with that being said, that's right, Sandy. Also very white savior complex too, 100%, 100%. With that being said, I'm also about to bash Ubah. And I don't mean bash, but I just mean like I'm about to call her out too. Because to me, in this situation, they're both wrong. Because Ubah, we see each other. This is what Ubah did, and she go back and watch the clip. I wanted to play the clip so we could watch it together, but y'all know how Bravo is and NBC. They try to always take down my videos when I do clips. But I want you to go back and watch that particular segment of the episode, the very end where they have the conversation at breakfast. And I'm going to tell you why Ubah is just as trash as Brynn is when it comes to this conversation. I'm going to tell you why. For the last 4 episodes since the finale, since Brynn, exposed her billionaire Connecticut boyfriend, Ubah has been on the I hate Brynn. Brynn is horrible. She's a snake. She's a viper. She's this, she's that. Not talking to her, icing her out, cussing her out. Has 0 time of day, but all of the smoke for Brynn for this entire time. Okay? All of a sudden, then we get to this scene, and Ubah, because she's a bad actress, comes in and she's like, hi. And she like hugs Brynn and she's like, oh, I love her. She's so great. Last night we were like, oh, I love you. I love you. And like, we were talking about everything and everyone's like, whoa, this is new. This is brand new. Like, since when did Ubah even, tell Brynn the time of day? Like, Ubah had nothing for Brynn, but all of a sudden she's and like laughing. And then she goes into this very scripted, forced, fake, and phony, in my personal opinion, damage control monologue about how, well, I only act out and I only get in that place because of Brynn. When Brynn gets into my space, this is what happens. And I only did that because of Brynn. That's really not me. It was just because of Brynn. And that's why I did that. But I'm not really like that. And then she had these fake Tom Sandoval wannabe actor tears. Like, she wasn't even really crying. She was just making this sound. And I looked at, and I was like, Ubah, ooh, ooh. And when she did it, I was like, what the hell is going on? This is so fake. We said, I love you and blah, blah, blah. But then, flash forward to the confessionals. When Brynn told it, how her and Aaron and Ubah had their little powwow, and she said, look, this is how you're coming across. You have the angry Black woman stereotype. You need to rein it in if you want Oliver to want to marry you. I'm going to get into Ubah and Oliver too, because I don't know if that is as roses as Ubah likes to pretend it is. But we'll get to that. But remember that, right? So to me, Ubah agrees with the, in my personal opinion, anti-Black sentiment that if you present yourself as a Black woman in certain stereotypical ways, you are then no longer worthy and deserving of love or your boyfriend or marriage or white approval or whatever the case may be, right? Ubah clearly believed that, which is why she flipped. She wanted to then come the next morning, act like everything is roses, and do damage control and be like, oh, I only acted that way because of Brynn. Brynn got me there. And that's where Ubah messed up. That is where Ubah messed up. Number one, if she were going to do damage control because now she doesn't want to present as the angry Black woman, now because she's worried about what Oliver is going to think about how she's acting on TV, because, how dare she be a woman and be a human being and have an emotional reaction while filming a drama TV show? How dare she be a human and do that? Better, make some excuse because she's Black. How dare she? She blames Brynn. And then you see the look on Brynn's face where she's like, why are you blaming me for how you're acting? Why are you coming off of me? Ubah, I'm going to tell you what you should have done. You should have done one of two things. If you were going to sell out and believe in the anti-Black statement and do your fake damage control acting, fake crying, fake hugging Brynn that you did at the brunch, you should not have deflected everything onto Brynn, because that is only making your feud with Brynn bigger, because Brynn doesn't see it as you doing damage control the way I saw it, because I saw right through the whole charade. Brynn sees it as you are now attacking her, you're blaming her, you're making her the problem. So now she's in her feelings, and that's going to, I promise you, that will lead to much bigger problems between Ubah and Brynn for the rest of this season. Because this is the pivotal moment where it really broke. Ubah should have just said, you know what? That's how I reacted in the moment. I apologize for swearing and yelling at you. I got really heated. I'm sure everyone can understand getting to that moment, but I apologize for yelling and screaming at you. I love you. Let's hug it out. Keep it cute. Keep it moving forward. Or if she did not actually buy into the anti-Black comments, because I think they both believe that. I think once Brynn said to Ubah, the way you're coming across is like the angry Black woman, and Oliver isn't going to like that, and he's not going to want to marry you because you're presenting as Black instead of what is palpable Black, right? Like I don't know, it's giving very like Meghan Markle vibes. I actually like Meghan Markle. I know she can be very divisive, but that type of like the type of Black that is suitable. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that Ubah believed it and was worried that she was presenting as Black, Black. You see what I'm saying? And that would be off-putting to Oliver. And so I think that if she didn't believe that, and if she believed, you know what, I'm a human being, I am who I am, and I can act how I act, and it shouldn't be off-putting, my person should love me and choose me no matter what, then she should have just stood 10 toes down the way she stands 10 toes down on literally everything else every other season, It's ridiculous, right? She should have just stood 10 toes down and was like, well, this is who I am. Oliver loves me as me. He doesn't want me to be whitewashed or any other way. He wants me to be how I am and who I am. And I don't need to conform. I don't need to bow down. I don't need to change who I am because I don't want to be some stereotype. Screw that. Who cares about a stereotype? Be yourself, be you. She should have stood 10 toes down. And then I would have had respect for Ubah. But I can't respect someone who constantly blames everybody else for her own actions. It's not Brynn's fault that you lied about being in a relationship with this man. It's not Brynn's fault that you told Sai. It's not Brynn's fault that Sai told her. It's not Brynn's fault that you also believed in the that you were acting too Black and you were worried what Oliver would think about you because you clearly drank the Kool-Aid. And then you didn't want Brynn to say anything because you wanted to do your little damage control and then peace out. So you could go back and be like, no, I made everything right. It wasn't me that blah, blah, blah. That's why you and Sai have a safe word pineapple to check you when you're getting out of pocket. I'm an adult. I don't have a safe word with another woman to check me. But that's just me. That's just me. Again, the reason why this is problematic is because nobody, unlike Orange County, goes up to Tamara and says, "Hey, Tamara, you're drunk and you're swearing and you're getting crazy. You're really playing into the angry white woman stereotype. And I wonder if, Eddie wants to divorce you because you're acting like an angry white woman." No. They just say, "Tamara, you're acting crazy. And Eddie should be embarrassed of you." The key difference is it has nothing to do with the race of the person. Because Brynn would have still been right if she would have actually left race out of it and just said, in the moment, you are not allowed to swear at me. You are not allowed to yell at me. You are not allowed to disrespect me. And if you disrespect me in conversation, I'm going to remove myself. If Brynn would have stayed with that energy, she would have won all day. But I think they're both wrong for this. And I think it's rooted in insidious self-hatred, internalized racism, and anti-Blackness. Because Brynn basically said it, "Stop acting so Black or else Oliver isn't going to want to marry you." And Ubah said, "Okay, bet, let me go do some damage control." But the problem was Ubah's damage control threw Brynn under the bus. If Ubah had not thrown Brynn under the bus, it never would have came out that they had their whole angry Black woman conversation. The only reason why Brynn told it was because Ubah threw Brynn under the bus, blaming her for her behavior. Right? So to me, I think they're both wrong. I think Ubah is hiding a lot. I think there's a lot in her life that she's not showing. I don't know what it is. I think Brynn is very bitter. I'm getting very bitter Betty from Brynn because Brynn is very intelligent, very beautiful, fashionable. And Brynn is a cool girl. Whether or not you like her, she's cool. She's a cool girl. But I do think that her own self-hate and lack of self-love and self-worth is probably what's holding her back from finding the right love of her life. And I think she feels a little bitter about that, especially when it comes to Ubah, who is dating an alleged billionaire finance guy, entrepreneur, and living the life that Brynn wants to live so badly. So I think that both of these women are hiding a lot. I think they're both highly insecure. And I think that they both were dead wrong for feeding into the anti-Blackness of the angry Black woman stereotype. That's kind of where I land on that. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. And then with that, let's just talk very quickly about some of the couples. And then I'll break down what I think about all of the girls for this season. Okay. Now, Is Ubah's relationship with Oliver Datchell, is it too good to be true? So allegedly, word on the street is he is a billionaire. In 2020, he was worth $6.87 billion dollars. And now in 2024, he's worth $8 billion dollars. I could not find him on the Forbes billionaire list. I don't know if I missed him or if he just wasn't listed, but I couldn't find him on it. I got this from the Wealth Times. Where did I get it from? Impact Wealth said he was a billionaire, and then also betches.com said he was a billionaire, and some other sources, but I can't confirm it. It's just what the internet says. We don't know if that's true or not, but he has a lot of money either way. But the reason why I say, is it too good to be true, is this. I feel, and I want to know what you guys think on this. I feel like something is just off with the way Ubah talks about him and her relationship with him. Like, she's like, oh, he's great, he's really into me, but like, I'm getting so scared. Oh, we want to have a baby, but we might adopt. And then she talks about sex. We have sex all the time and more sex, and this is how we're gonna get a baby. But like, I don't know. And like, he made a whole room for me that I could paint, but then does he just want to like lock me in the room as his prisoner? Like, it's just really weird to me how she talks about it. It's like, oh, but I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Like, I'm just confused. I don't know exactly what I'm picking up on, but I'm picking up on something just isn't, I don't know, something just isn't adding up. She said he was the most stable part of her life, which could be true, but there's just something that just feels off. I don't know what it is. To me, it's just the way she talks about it just seems weird. Do you know what I mean? It just seems very, I don't know. It just seems odd to me. And like, clearly, he does not want to be on the show. I know she said that he was with her backstage at Watch What Happens Live, which is like normal, like your partner comes to support you. And also, she's making her entire personality this season bashing all of the women. So I'm kind of like, well, why are you on the show, Ubah? You come on the show, you call everybody pigeons. People are saying this, people are saying that. You're very disparaging. You don't want to hang out with anybody. You don't want to talk to anybody. You say you're good friends with Erin, but then you talk about Erin behind her back. I don't know what's going on with Ubah. I feel like she just doesn't really share her real life. Like, what is she doing for work? Does she have like the hot sauce or whatever it was going on? Is she still modeling? What is she doing? Like, how does she spend her days? Who are her friends? What does she do? I don't know. I just feel like we don't really see into Ubah's life at all. And to me, it seems very clear that like she says, oh, he loves the girls and all this stuff, but it seems like he doesn't. It seems like he doesn't want you on the show and he thinks it's very low brow. And that's why you're on the show with this sort of holier than thou attitude about yourself. Well, if all the girls are pigeons and everybody goes back and twists words, you know what the assignment is. You know what the Real Housewives is. So either show up and play or give somebody else an apple. You know what the deal is, because just coming and being a sourpuss and being a wet blanket and not having fun and yelling at people and not telling the truth about your real life, that's not going to cut it. Like, it's not. I'm super confused. Like, I don't know what's going on with you. And I don't know what it is, but something just feels off. So let's just, with a feather and our candy cane critical thinking caps and just think and just remember that. Let's noodle on that. Something feels not right there, but we'll see. Okay. Now let's move on to